The What Was Good Design Modern Art exhibition was held from 1944 to 1956 at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The idea of the exhibition, created by Edgar Kaufman Jr., was to display products that combine functionality with beauty to ultimately create a practical yet visually pleasing object. Most designs in the exhibition consisted of everyday household objects such as Tupperware, chairs, and silverware. This consequently created conflict and discussion to whether it was an exhibition to celebrate good designs or whether it was to advertise items for consumers to buy. This is Charles and Ray Eames. Charles Eames was born in June of 1907 in the state of Missouri. He was later educated at Washington University. Charles had a successful background in architecture and was becoming very well known for his work. He then later moved to the Cranbrook Academy of Art, where he would become a teacher and later become the head of the design department. During this time, Charles began to find rhythm and began to heavily focus on designing furniture. Not long after, in 1946, the Museum of Modern Art invited Charles to be the first ever person to hold a one-man exhibition where he would be displaying his furniture. Ray was born in December of 1912 in Sacramento. She had a creative background and was a talented painter. She studied painting with the famous abstract painter Hans Hofmann in New York, where she would be recognized for the similar painting style to Hans. She then later moved to the Cranbrook Academy of Art, where she would later meet Charles. In 1941, the two got married and formed an extremely successful partnership in design. They moved to California and established a design firm, which they named the Office of Charles and Ray Eames, where they would later create their most famous bodies of work. The innovative pair were revolutionary in the way of furniture design, creating mass-producable pieces such as molded plywood chairs, storage units, and knockdown furniture, which many of were displayed in the Museum of Modern Art's What Was Good Design. They were most famous for their molded chairs, which unlike most other chairs at this time had a free-flowing and soft feel. They also wrote books, made films, and were involved in many architectural projects. During World War II, they were even commissioned by the US Navy to produce molded plywood splints and stretchers to attend to the wounded soldiers and their injuries. Charles passed away in 1978, however Ray kept designing. During the peak of Charles and Ray Eames' career in design, the Museum of Modern Art heavily focused on Dieter Rams' 10 Principles of Good Design. Each object that would be shown in the exhibition would have to adhere to all 10 principles. The Eames had multiple furniture designs that would be recognized in the exhibition, especially in the way of chairs. However, the one that stood out to me and clearly followed all 10 principles with excitement was the Eames storage unit, or otherwise referred to as the ESU. The ESU was designed and constructed in 1950. It was made from plastic-coated plywood, lacquered masonite, and chrome-plated steel, however still managed to look like it was created entirely from the natural materials, which ultimately gave it an irresistible organic feel. It also softened the hard edges of the unit, which would allow it to be seen in any sort of room without being an eyesore. The Eames storage unit has been thoroughly thought out down to the very last detail. There is no wasted space and every single part of the unit serves a purpose, which ultimately gives us a simplistic and honest design. It has drawers to store various items, open shelving, and also has cabins to hide anything else that we don't want to see away. It was, and still is, the ultimate and most practical storage unit, and no flaws can be found in the design. In having the open shelving, it gives you the opportunity to create your own piece of art by displaying whatever it is that you want to look at, whether it be flowers or even just to have the quick and easy access to papers and folders. But by having this open space, It gives each individual the freedom to make it their own and be able to see what they want to see. This storage unit is timeless. The Eames storage unit is a long-lasting product. The plywood is coated with a plastic and the masonite has been lacquered, which means that it won't age or lose colour like any other normal wood that hasn't been treated. The small amount of the man-made products, such as the plastic coating that this unit contains, gives you a modern and timeless look that will look good forever in any household or office space. By having these sorts of coatings over the wood, it would become much more appealing to consumers and would be something they could keep forever without being damaged. Regardless of how complex any design is, most good designs look as simple as possible and are easy to understand. The Eames storage unit is easy to look at and is understandable within seconds. Its functionality is second to none and would be appreciated by most. The work of Charles and Ray Eames is nothing short of inspiring, and many lessons can be learnt from studying most of their work. In the past, a lot of my work has contained bits and pieces that aren't necessarily there for any reason other than just because I feel like they look good. What I've learned from the Eames storage unit is to make sure that every last little detail in anything I design has a functioning purpose and isn't there for no reason. I will also try to implement simplicity as a core ingredient to all my pieces and not overcrowd designs. The most important lesson I've learned is that a good design is a design that has an easily identifiable message.